I was coaching just beside Djokovic. This is why I connect very good with Indian parents and with Indian mentality, because we are also a little bit over the top like that.
So actually, that's nice to hear. So the next Novak Djokovic can come from India.
We did a lot of clinics with Wawrinka, with Ferrer, with Murray, with Nadal, and then there's been also a lot of clinics with their coaches.
So we have a really amazing episode today. We are going to talk or have a discussion with a coach from Serbia.
Yeah, and I am really excited to meet someone who has actually been there, who has been associated with the absolute top.
Yeah.
Stan Wawrinka, my hero.
Yes.
There's Nenad Zimonjic, David Ferrer, just to name a few, right?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you are very excited to talk to him because of Stan Wawrinka and his single-handed backhand. But apart from that, he has also been associated with the Djokovic Tennis Academy.
Yeah.
And the academy run by Djokovic's family in Serbia. So we are also going to talk to him about that. We are going to talk to him about how early tennis development, especially at the junior level, works here, works there in Europe, because of course they are more famous for producing world-class players. And since he's from Serbia and he has been associated with Djokovic in some form, we'll also have a small fun quiz with him, I hope.
Yeah, let's see how much he knows. I'm sure he'll pass that quiz very, very easily. But for our listeners, do tune in to this episode. There are a lot of offers that we'll be releasing, especially from the PBI Tennis Academy as well as the Elysium clubs where we are recording this episode today. More on all these in the episode. Hi, welcome to the show, Milos. Absolutely thrilled to have you here.
Likewise, nice to be here, guys.
Yes, thank you so much for coming here. And first, let us start with the basics. Could you please just introduce yourself, how long you have been coaching, and how you have been associated with PBI, etc.?
Yes, my name is Miloš Milunovic. So I've been coaching. It would be around 22 years.
Wow.
So I'm basically an expert in junior development. That was always my biggest passion. Bringing kids from beginners levels to the ITF and professional levels, and had a lot of success with that through my career. My experience with PBI, I had been in contact with them through my career, working around the world in Dubai and so on. But actually, our first work together started right now with India, as they were looking for a certain type of profile that would be good for the project that they had here in India, in Pune, which also looks to expand and has roots since the 90s. And we also, PBI as a company, is probably managing one of the best academies in all India in Bangalore currently.
All right. So first of all, how has your experience been here in India overall? The people, the tennis players, the juniors that you meet. And secondly, how do you think PBI is trying to change the way tennis is played or perceived, or the approach towards the foundation of tennis in India?
Yes, well, the first thing that you mentioned, that was that's my biggest impression here in India. What I like the most is people, and this is something that I also carry since my days in Dubai, where you have a lot of Indian expats, and they're very prevalent in tennis as well there. So I had experience to work with them and to travel, even to bring them back to Serbia to train and play matches. So just my experience expanded here. I love working with Indian kids. They have this kind of discipline and dedication, and the friendliness that I received here in Pune overall, it's something that's I has I have to say it's much better than anywhere else where I've been. So that would be my biggest impression. I really like it. Um, Now, talking about PBI again, PBI as a company is a very old company. What is mostly important is it's the biggest tennis provider globally in the world. It spreads all over the world. And it works on so many levels, from hotels to the academies to the residential areas and so on, and provides a different spectrum of tennis services. Now, what is very specific for India, where PBI already had a foothold in the early 90s, they were kind of pioneering, bringing the programs and systems, international programs and system to India even then. And now, maybe compared to other locations like exclusive resorts around the world, in India, it really works on bringing those programs and implementing them in the whole development. In 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 my case, specifically around junior tennis and development from the basis on, that's already implemented for 15, 20 years around the Western countries and Western Hemisphere. Uh, the best proof of that is definitely the Bangalore Academy, which is there for 5 years now in this amazing sport center. And it already developed and upgraded its system to the level where they have several ATP, WTA Indian players and dozens of ITF players, as well as a very strong grassroots and ITA development with great success. We had recently some really amazing success with one of the players, the PBI, that's now reaching very close to the 300 rank WTA. So the programs and systems that they're bringing in India is really based about development and about the performance. What does that mean? That means we are here to really train the Indian coaches to bring up the programs and systems that are already implemented for some times in other countries around the world, which for us is something that we feel it's lacking a little bit on a grand scale in India, as a vast country as it is. And with a proper development from the beginning on, I think India can also start catching up a little bit with that high level of professionalism that's seen in coaching, and of course with the results that you see these days. So yeah.
All right.
So you also had a great experience working with some of the top players, right? So in terms of kids here, how they start, how they want to grow, how does that your experience changed your outlook towards Indian kids?
Well, I think there's a absolutely amazing base because of the attitude that Indian kids. I have to see again, compared to, I've been working on 4 continents, and in Dubai I was exposed to kids from all around the world. So you kind of see the difference in mentality, in the approach, and the Indian kids are very determined. They're good workers, they're good listeners, they're very focused. and they're very committed to the sport that they like. So I think there's a amazing mental and coaching base there with the Indian clientele. But obviously, I use this mostly when I explain to parents. There's been a lot of development in the last 15, 20 years uh, about how to train properly kids from the day one to the to the professional level. And this is something that hasn't been really spread around the world. I've been working in Asia before, and really these systems were still being implemented. Here in India, we lack proper development for the red and orange and green levels, all these under 10 levels of the kids, which are these days crucial for the proper for the setup of proper technique that you really need to, a proper base that you need.
But that also means that you need to tailor your approach to different kids, right? So, how do you talk to kids about mental aspects? Because that has that is becoming very, very important in tennis these days.
Well, it's been important always. This is the situation that you have with individual sports, even more than with the group sports. You kind of feel exposed out there, alone in the court, and there's many decisions that have to be made very fast, and you have to always kind of play against your subconscious, because we know how the brain works. Um, it's all about the proper progression from day one. Like first putting kids in a kind of a comfortable, safe environment, and then slowly and gradually exposing them to more and more challenges, so they would naturally grow into it. The big part of it is also education of parents. As you know, parents are usually the biggest fans of their kids, and they also have to know how to give that unconditional support when the kids are first starting to compete. The goals that are set are mostly set regarding the goals, training goals that we set. So we want to perform our best, to play our own game rather than chase the score. The score and the results will come with the time, as soon as you establish that mental stability, and when you feel comfortable and you're able to think about your tennis. I always tell kids that you have positive and negative mistakes, and the loss can be very positive, and the win rarely, but it can also have a negative context in some way. So it's really about going out there and playing your game. Setting up the goals that you have in training, seeing your own game progress, and having that constant support from the parents and coaches, especially in the match situations.
Indian parents have much more anxiety as compared to other parts of the world. What would you have to say about that?
I would say that they're still, if you compare them to Serbian parents, they're still nice, but it's a similarity. This is why I connect very good with Indian parents and with Indian mentality, because we are also a little bit over the top like that.
So actually, that's nice to hear. So the next Novak Djokovic can come from India.
Yes, yes, it goes through very tough surroundings. The the mentality of Serbians is very fighty. Let's say they like to compete, to fight, to how would I
Prove themselves.
yeah, yeah. So it's and they're very competitive. So it really how would I say uh, the kids already in the beginning, they have to go through a lot of psychological pressure, even in those very, very early tournaments. So the education of parents is also a big part of my job, to make sure that in the beginning, they build that mental strength as soon as possible. And for that, you need support, because kids in the early tournaments, you would see them always turning their heads towards the parents. And what kind of message they send to the kids is usually crucial. It can be just the body language. So we even do training for that. Giving a positive body language and unconditional support is something that is a rule for the matches. And if there's any pressure on kids, it comes during the training.
So I am very curious to know what stories, now that you have worked with so many big players, what stories do you tell kids about these players? Any particular incident or story?
Yes, I mean, it's a kind of we had it 2 weeks ago as a part of a kind of a mental session, and usually big part of those sessions is a lot of analogies with other players and with their pets through from the beginning into success stories. It evolves some of the stories that I know of obviously famous professional players coming from Serbia and so on. But I prefer to use my own stories with the kids that I know since the age of 6 or 8 until they were now in their 20s and playing it for colleges or playing on the tour. So they can find they can somehow see their own path through these stories, and that sometimes all these stories can be different. They can be different paths. A lot of the stories that I like to play are kind of a Cinderella stories about the kids that came from very poor background, where the parents couldn't afford to train on the level that a lot of rich and higher middle class kids and parents can. So we had a couple of interesting stories about.
So I just wanted to ask one question around balancing technique and physical fitness. How would you summarize that?
Just 1 second. Let me just tell you. He has been, I won't say bothered, but he has been sort of annoyed overall for the past few years, because he seems to think, or he keeps saying that the game is becoming far too physical compared to, because we grew up watching Sampras and Agassi, right? And now from Federer to say Rafa and Novak, and now whatever we are watching is getting a lot more physical, and the reliance on technique, or the art of play is reducing, and the physicality is somewhat increasing day by day. It's become extremely grueling.
Yeah.
So what we mean by that is, how do you separate the physicality from the technique? Because you can get carried away with going overly physical and miss some of the finer
Well,
technicalities.
I mean, I wouldn't separate it. I would say it doesn't affect technicality. Technicality is always there, and it's always also improving to the highest level. What we see in modern sports generally, not just in tennis, is pushing that athletic preparation, physical preparation to the limits. As every other sport, it became a huge business, and with the development of all the sciences and also media, so because the information is so accessible to everybody, we are kind of reaching the peak of human development in sports. And of course, there's been on the athletic side, it's been pushed to, I would say, almost to the limit of human possibilities. Um, I have mixed feelings towards it, because obviously in the technical sense, some kind of types of tactical and technical things are becoming a little bit obsolete, like the serve and volley game, because the players are becoming too fast, too athletic, and we don't have that kind of style of play that we had in the 70s and 80s. But on the other side, that's kind of a normal, natural progression of the sports. What is important and what you're going to see in modern tennis is also a huge evolution of recovery for the players and maintenance of their physical, health. Because you can see also that the longevity of the athletes is becoming bigger. So there's a lot of advancement in the science regarding the recovery and maintenance of the body, let's say. And you can see also that a lot of players use some alternative methods on their own, which is one of the secrets to success of Djokovic, and him being able to play at the age of 36 at the highest level. Yeah.
If you have to give some advice to your younger coaches, what do you generally tell them?
Well, I mean, you have to stay updated with the, let's say, I wouldn't say trends, with the scientific developments, especially in junior development. This is something. This is the reason why we are in India, to bring a lot of this information and to train local coaches up to that standards, because it's very important to set up that proper technique on time. It's very important that like at the age of 6, at the age of 8, at the age of 9 and 10, that the kids play with the proper balls, with the proper rackets. This is very common mistakes that I already observed here with the talented kids. Sometimes parents, sometimes the situation pushes them to go for the bigger rackets, for the harder balls, and this all affects their technical development. I spend 80% of my time in my career is correcting, some of the missteps in that development. So if every step is followed properly, I think by the age of 10 or 12, depending on how much players are committed, you can have a really proper technical base, which makes it so much easier for the coaches and for the players and for everyone to really reach their, reach their high potential, even as juniors.
And I just wanted to ask about some common setbacks or challenges or mental aspects that players face, typically the upcoming players. So, how do you advise them to deal with that? Maybe a bad loss, maybe not that great performance one day.
Well, you set up rational goals, and again, you judge your level and by the goals that we set up in the training, rather than the results, which is of course much more important in the junior development. You don't want to put that pressure straight away. You want to start exposing them to more challenges and tougher matches and so on. But the goal is always for us to be the best that we can, and to keep improving in what we can with our training, with our challenges on the court, on the training, and then to try to implement them during the matches. These are the first challenges that everybody finds. You start easy with the basket, with the rallies, then you have to go to the more advanced drills, and every next step your level will drop a little bit in the beginning. But if you're focused on that, it's going to keep improving. And the last step is going to be implementing all that from the training into the matches. At that point, you're kind of reaching your own goals, and the results will come naturally. The mental toughness usually comes from playing matches and matches and matches, and slowly going through all those obstacles. It's very important that you have a very natural progression in everything you do in life, and tennis is just like that.
We have heard that you have collaborated with some of our heroes and some of the top players. So it's Stan Wawrinka, David Ferrer, even Zimonjic, to name a few. So just for something fun, do you have any experiences, fun experiences, or anything you'd like to share with us, how they approach things differently? obviously they're at the top of their game.
Well,
Big stars.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've been lucky to be on the court with top 5 players, working with them in in some workshops and clinics that were organized by organizations where I worked, some promotions, and even collaborated obviously with Djokovic's family with international tennis camps and similar situations. Uh, Also, that gave me opportunity at the same time to talk with their coaches. So we did a lot of clinics with Wawrinka, with Ferrer, with Murray, with Nadal, and then there's been also a lot of clinics with their coaches where we could get all the little fine details in their development and the assessment of their game. Well, basically, on that level, which is the highest level, obviously, of professionalism, you start talking about very little small nuances in everybody's game, adapting their game to every little situation. When we worked with Wawrinka's coach, we were analyzing how they made this kind of balance and compromise between his strength and situations on the court, how he would be, because of the power that he possesses, they would compared to the speed that he has, they would choose to keep him a little bit back when he's returning the serves, because he can compensate that with just with the power of his stroke rather than cutting in and attacking the serve, which is kind of something that you see with Djokovic, who is obviously much faster player, much more explosive, faster. So the kind of little nuances, and yeah, we had some interesting experiences with. I organized the international camp in the Novak Academy. So when I brought kids, they would be bothering, Djokovic's brothers all the time on the training. So, and it was right after the Wimbledon in 2012, yeah, and they were waiting the whole week for Djokovic to come back. And what it happens, I took them for a local tournament, and that was the exactly time when he came back to the academy and played football with the other kids. So they never forgave me that I took them for the tournaments on that weekend. Last year as well, I was coaching just beside Djokovic. So I entered the court and I published some photos of my Instagram, and then I ended up in the papers as a Djokovic's coach. That was my recent experience. Funny stories, let's say.
So, talking about Djokovic, do you want to have
Yeah, small quiz, fun time. So, quiz question number 1. What is the birth date of Novak Djokovic?
Well, I don't know the exact date, but I know it's 1987.
Oh,
that's right, actually.
For which country did Djokovic play his Junior Davis Cup?
Well, that would be Yugoslavia, I would say, at that period.
I think you must know the entire history of the country, and hence it's yeah. Do you know who was Djokovic's first coach?
It was even then a pretty old lady called Jelena Gencic. So there is a video circulating around the internet with his first session ever. So I guess that gentleman there was his first coach. But Jelena Gencic would be, and she's unfortunately not with us anymore.
Oh, yeah. So, what was Novak's best performance as a junior?
Semi-final. Was it Australian Open or?
That's right. Probably since he was at the Australian Open as a junior with his best performance.
Yeah,
probably he has 10
definitely
now.
something about the surface there.
Yeah, and maybe because he couldn't win it, he's taking a revenge at the Australian Open for the past 15 years, I think.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, finally, there is, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer here, but what is your prediction? How many Grand Slams will Djokovic win?
I think the possibility of one or two more is there. You know, you can't predict if somebody's going to get injured or miss or something. Obviously, the era of Alcaraz is starting, but it's still very close. So let's give him one or two more.
Yeah, that would be fun to see. I think starting with the US Open next month. But thanks so much for joining us. It was a pleasure having you.
Likewise.
Absolutely thrilled.
Thank you, guys.